How many dogs in Zelda are actually based in real life? And what are they? What breed? Do they have the same habits in the games as they do in real life? Well, today I will share my wife and I's research that took literally weeks to answer all those questions for all of you. But before we get started, let me explain how we got here. You see, my wife and I discovered a ton of canines in Zelda after researching for another video, The Birds in Zelda. And that video did amazingly well. But being that she is a doctor in animal behavior, she could not help but wonder about our furry friends here. Were they also ported into Zelda accurately? And me being a huge fan of the Zelda series, I couldn't actually remember or recall what the canines in Zelda looked like. I mean, I'm old, guys. I can't recall every single Zelda game at this point. Look, when you enter your 30s and you have kids, everything is just a blur. But for real, do any of you remember each dog in each Zelda and can recall what it looks like? Well, today we're uncovering those lost memories and just how many of them are actually based on real world canines. But I'm gonna warn you right now, what we found, it's not what we were expecting. Oh, we're getting serious now. I have a whiteboard. For every canine that we go over, we're gonna put their names up under real or not real, respectively. This way, at the end of the video, you can see an entire list displayed in front of you of real or not real canines. It should make for quite an interesting visual at the end, but also admittedly, it's to help me with my handwriting, because it's terrible. On to our first doggo. We are starting off with one of the cutest dogs in Zelda. Yes, I am talking about the Highland Retriever. This good boy could be found in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And there's a specific named version of this dog named Sadie. And Sadie can be found at the Wetland stable with her owner, Quince. Highland Retrievers are incredibly cool because they can actually take you to treasure. Simply feed this dog enough and it will eventually lead you to some buried treasure. But what kind of dog is the Highland Retriever based off of? Well, we can see clearly that these guys are based off of the Australian Shepherd. The Australian Shepherd is a breed of herding dog thought to be originated from Spain. Fun fact, the Australian Shepherd name is actually technically a misnomer. You see, when they came up with the name Australian Shepherd, came up with in California, quite a far away from Australia. Nowhere close to Australia. I mean, closer than some places. Crikey. The colors of the Highland Retriever match up incredibly well with the Australian Shepherd. It's almost a 1-for-1 match of this dog, making the first dog on our list 100% real. Next up, we don't just have one dog. No. That would be too easy. We have an entire army of dogs, and I'm not kidding you when I say that. You see, back in the 90s, 3D was still pretty new. And the first 3D Zelda was actually Ocarina of Time, and it went on to win 1998's Game of the Year. Pretty big deal. And on top of that, it included some of the first 3D dogs in video games. Yeah, I'm talking about these little guys right up here. Interestingly, Majora's Mask uses a lot of the same assets as Ocarina of Time. And this is because Eiji Aonuma, the director of Majora's Mask, was only given 1 year from Shigeru Miyamoto to complete Majora's Mask, which is the reason why a ton of the assets in Ocarina of Time we see in Majora's Mask. They actually made tiny adjustments here and there to make the game seem fresh and new. One of those adjustments being the color of the dogs. If you go to the racetrack in Majora's Mask just past Romani's ranch, You will be able to choose which dog to bet on in the race. That's right, Majora's Mask had an illegal dog racing track. Illegal, I tell you. And these dogs, they're all brown, white, gray, blue. There are so many colors to these dogs. And here's what's really cool. If you talk to the dogs with the mask of truth on, you can actually find out how the dog is feeling that day. And so it helps you with your choice of which dog to bet on in that race. If the dog is feeling really, really good that day and saying they're feeling energetic, then that's the kind of dog you want to bet on, right? You want to bet on the energetic dog that you think is going to win. Okay, but what are these dogs in the real world? Well, even with rough early 3D graphics, we can tell these are Scottish Terriers of some variety, coming and originating from Scotland. They were originally bred to hunt small vermin on farms, but now they have a prominent role in pop culture as kind of a companion dog, and they are loved for that. And if you look closely, you might have realized that this dog, the Scottish Terrier, well, it's actually a play piece in Monopoly. That's right, this dog is so prominent, it got its own play piece in Monopoly. And here's the thing, even though the colors and the game of this dog are quite plentiful, they actually match up incredibly well with the real world equivalent, making the Scottish Terrier dogs of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask real. Speaking of terriers, next up on our list is the unnamed dog in the Oracle of Ages. This dog is the pet of Manamu Yan, and she resides in Lina City. The dog is actually part of a trading quest and later gets lost. Link must go and try to find the terrier and, well, bring him back. And if Link does, he will get a snowshoe ring. That's right, the Oracle of Ages and the Oracle of Seasons both had some sort of jewelry mechanism in those games. You can actually wear jewelry and it changes how Link plays a little bit. Now, if you remember what we just discussed throughout the racetrack in Majora's Mask, then you might have seen that this lady is the same lady that we talked to in order to bet on the races in that game. Except here she's kind of in like a 8-bit form. 8-bit? 8-bit? 16-bit? One of those bits. Bit byte. And so her dog is similar in an 8-bit form. But what kind of terrier is this canine? Does he match up with anything we have in the real world? Well, even though in a bit form, this doggo looks very similar to a Yorkshire Terrier. This little ankle biter is very cute and loves to play, and is usually kept around as a companion dog. This puppy originated in the 19th century in the English county of Yorkshire, which it is named after. And so that makes the Terrier of Oracle of Ages absolutely real. Well, those of you that are nerds like me, you also know that Oracle of Ages had a mirrored game called the Oracle of Seasons, and you could actually play both of those games and unlock items from each game respectively. Well, over in Oracle of Seasons, we have Flash. This dog lives in Horon Village and can be seen playing with his owner in the game. From what we can tell of the sprite, it looks more of a beagle-like dog. And this is in large part due to the brown and the white body. But also you can see that his tail is also dipped in white. The only thing that kind of makes this seem like it would not be a beagle is the ears, which are black. Beagles are really cool. They are a small form of scenthound, and they're very similar in appearance to a foxhound. The beagle was actually bred to primarily hunt rabbits on the farm, so also another vermin hunter. These dogs possess an incredible scent of smell and can smell out vermin from very far away. And so we are saying Flash here is 100% a real doggo. The Legend of Zelda series has many cool art styles. I mean, yeah, I might not appreciate the Wind Waker game too much, but I can really appreciate its art style. But one of my favorite art styles is from the new Link's Awakening. I really couldn't tell you why I love this art style so much. I just do. You know what I mean? It looks so cool, and it has just such a neat aesthetic compared to what we are used to in Zelda. So I don't know why, but I just really love this art style. But here's the thing. It's a cool art style, but it makes some of the animals look, well, a little weird. For instance, this next canine on our list, Mutt. Now, Mutt is usually referring to a mix of breeds or a mix of heritage. But Mutt here looks straight up like a fox. He doesn't look like a dog at all. But wait. But wait, I already know what you're gonna say. What about OG Link's Awakening? You know, the original one that was released in the 90s. What does Mutt look like there? Well, Mutt in that game actually looks, well, quite the same, actually. Although, I will say that it does look less fox-like, and its snout is less pointy like a fox. See, this one's really weird because we have an animal with two different versions. We have kind of a 8-bit, 16-bit version, and then we have, well, a newer version, and both of them look a little bit different. One looks more like a fox, and the other one looks maybe like a terrier. It's hard to say. We actually kind of thought after, you know, doing the loft wing in the bird video that maybe this was a form of Shiba dog, since in Japan, Shiba dogs are really prominent. But still, that doesn't really help us out very much. And so technically we can say this is not a dog. But Mutt does look like a red fox. And you can see that red foxes kind of have some brown sometimes too. We were really leaning towards a no with this one, but ultimately we decided since Mutt looks like a fox, we're gonna say he's a canine, a real one. And since foxes are canines, we decided, yeah, Mutt's actually real. So we put it on the real one. Surprisingly though, there are not a lot of foxes in Zelda. You think there would be. But in Majora's Mask, we actually have our next canine, and we do have a fox there. Zelda actually has a lot of mythological influence. I mean, you have seen it. You've got dragons, you've got golems, you've got thunderbirds, you know, whatever the heck this thing is. But one of the most prominent mythological creatures is the kitsune. The kitsune is a fox spirit that's said to have 9 tails. Yes, if you're thinking about Pokemon, that's absolutely based off the kitsune. According to Japanese folklore, these foxes were able to shapeshift into humans, other animals, and often would play tricks on humans or even be companions with them. And in Majora's Mask, you meet a version of the kitsune called a Keaton. This awesome looking dude can be found in Termina if you spot moving grass. And you can even talk to him if you wear the Keaton mask, which you obtain doing some long quests. When you do talk to Keaton, he will actually quiz you. So it seems he too likes to play some tricks on you. Though, based off the kitsune, the Keaton actually only has 3 tails. And unfortunately, we cannot say that this is actually a real canine because, well, he's mythological. So, sorry, Keaton. However, there is a fox I can say is 100% real. And this fox can be found in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom within Hyrule Field. I'm of course talking about the grassland fox. This fox is almost identical to a real world fox. I mean, look at them side by side, particularly the red fox. And every time I see one of these guys running around the game, it just brings me so much joy because they're so colorful and so, I don't know, skippy and fun. Foxes are omnivores, meaning they feed on basically fruit, insects, and small animals. I would say they would eat almost anything, but I don't think they have an appetite for McDonald's. Or maybe they do. Foxes are thought to have originated in Eurasia during the middle of the Pleistocene era over 40,000 years ago. I'm gonna have to wash my mouth out with mouthwash after that. But foxes are super cute because they're usually found in pairs or in small groups. such as a mommy and daddy fox with their young kids. Or also just as likely, a male fox can be found with several female foxes, if you get my drift. And have babies with them all, like some sort of rabid Elon Musk. I mean, like, geez, dude, calm down. Why am I hearing that you are having kids with a different woman like every week? Chill out. But speaking of chilling out, we are talking next about the snow coat fox. Get it? Chill out. Snow coat fox. This fox is also found in Breath of the Wild and in Tears of the Kingdom in more tundra, mountain-like climates. For instance, like the Hebrew Mountains or the Gerudo Highlands. And man, I just love the look of this fox. It looks so stinking cool. It has this like bright blue fur. It has the red around the eyes. I just love the look of this fox. But that's kind of its downfall. It looks cool, but the closest thing we could find in real life to this fox is the Arctic fox. And the Arctic fox is all white. Sure, if you put some shade on it, it might look a little blue, but it's all white naturally. However, there is a genetic mutation within the Arctic fox. This genetic mutation is called the blue star fox mutation. And this mutation changes the way the Arctic fox looks, but well, it actually only makes the fox look a little bit more grayish or silver. It's a far cry from actually a blue fox. I tried so hard to find a blue fox online because I thought this was so cool. I did so much research and I found like some photos that some people had taken that were really cool that they, have copyright on and stuff. So I can't really share with you guys. But unfortunately with this color combination, even though it's one of my favorite animals in Zelda, I cannot say it's real. So unfortunately, the snowcoat fox is not real. Okay, so we find a lot of weird things when we are researching in these games. But I have to say this is probably up there with some of the weirdest. Our next canine comes from a game called I can't believe I have to say this. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. I never thought I'd have to say these words on YouTube. It comes from a game called Ripened Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love. That's right. Many of you probably are not even aware that Tingle had his own game, let alone he had a few games and a game that's on love with a balloon. I mean, I'm sure he loves his balloon, but that's not what the game's about. The game is not loving a balloon. This game was only released in Japan on August 6, 2009 for the Nintendo DS. And now you can get an English ROM or a patched English version of this game. So if you're interested in a really weird Tingle game and something different, maybe go check that out. And first up is a dog named Edelweiss. This female dog is the flower shop owner's dog, and Tingle must take this dog out for a walk at the shop owner's request. At first glance, we can see that by the sprite, we can see that it's some sort of bulldog, we think. But you may be asking, well, what kind of bulldog? Well, my wife put them in the notes right here. Really, babe? You just wanted to see me suffer, didn't you? Doug de Bordeaux. Do you ever have one of those moments in your life where you are rethinking every decision you've ever made? Edelweiss looks mostly like a Duget de Belduis. I don't know if that's how you actually say it. Which is the only reddish bulldog that we could find. She also goes on to say that these dogs are also known as French Mastiffs, which are actually really gorgeous dogs. And she goes on to say, quote, Edelweiss does not deserve to be compared to the French Mastiff because the French Mastiff looks absolutely beautiful, and whatever Nintendo chose as this dog is an abomination. She also says that this game is absolutely weird and she hates researching it, so I don't blame her. Yeah, see, the whole premise of Ripen Tingle's balloon trip of love or whatever is to actually get girls to like you. So, you know, you can escape being trapped in a book by a wizard. And not only just a wizard that they ripped off from The Wizard of Oz. No, I am not kidding. Look, this dog is not real, so yeah, let's just pretend like this game never ever happened. What do you mean there are 4 more dogs in this stupid Tingle Love game? Are you serious? I'm really regretting my life choices at this point. Next up, we have Nash. Nash is one of the bodyguards that you can hire within the game on the second continent. And he is a bulldog with an eye patch. Kind of reminds you of a certain Marvel character. His subtext reads, "Don't pat him." And his description is, another guard dog from the elite trained unit. Very loyal and has incredibly sharp fangs. You see, Nash is actually a part of 3 different dogs that you can get as bodyguards in the game, and they all come from this like elite dog unit. The other 2 happen to be called Kano and Gix. But see, those 2 are both colored different here. And the colors they chose for them are absolutely not based on any real dog that I can see. I mean, they just are incredibly weird. But Nash here is actually a French bulldog. Definitely a French bulldog. See, with Nash, the color matches quite well to a real dog. However, Kano and Gix are definitely not real. Our final dog in the Tingle games is this really cute pup right here. This here is Barkle, and he is in the opening scene of Tingle's Love game. You know, before Tingle gets sucked into the Wizard of Oz book. But Barkle is also in freshly picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land. There's no wonder these games didn't come out in America. It came out in Europe though? This video, it's gonna give me trauma. Barkle is excellent at playing fetch. And yeah, he's wearing Tingle's iconic green costume, but he's 100% definitely a golden retriever in that costume. The golden retriever is actually a Scottish breed of the retriever dog and is thought to have originated sometime in the 19th century in Scotland. Golden retrievers are thought to be one of the most intelligent dogs in the entire world. And they are almost loved universally by literally everyone. They are loved for how affectionate they are and calm and caring. They make excellent family dogs. So if you have like young kids who want a dog to like grow up with, a golden retriever is an excellent choice. And this makes complete sense for our Tingle Love game or whatever, because, well, Tingle had to put the green suit on the pupper, right? So you'd have to be a pretty calm dog in order to let your owner put that on you. So absolutely, Barkle is 100% a real canine. Time to talk about one of my favorite Zelda games, the Twilight Princess game. Here in Twilight Princess, we can actually find multiple variations of the same type of dog. The thing is, one of them looks like a beagle, which we already talked about a little bit, and the other one looks like a lab. And well, this last one kinda is very strange. Is that a hairless dog? I mean, it's hard to say. Twilight Princess is quite a weird game at times. And after reviewing the birds of Twilight Princess, well, there's some weird things in there. So I want all of you to tell us, do you think this dog is hairless or do you think it has hair? It could just be bad graphics. But I'll tell you what, even with bad graphics, I think Nintendo could have done a little bit better here with its detail. If it is a hairless dog, then it would be a Zola it's kun et till Zola it's kun et till. I'm about to have an aneurysm. This dog is also known as the Mexican hairless dog, and it can come in a variety of different colors. It can come in black as well as brown and tan. And it is thought that these dogs actually entered North America from Siberia. And yeah, these dogs are actually hypoallergenic, which is incredibly cool. If you're like me and you have really bad allergies and you're specifically allergic to dogs, would be a good dog for you. But the thing is that with that Mexican hairless dog, it is different here in the ears than the other dog here. So it's likely this dog is based on the other dogs that it has and is some sort of beagle bred, a variety of beagle. Again, tell us in the comments below. Do you think this dog is hairless? Do you think it's actually a beagle? Or if it's not a beagle, what pupper do you think it is? So let us know down in the comments below, but we are going to go ahead and place these doggos under the real dogs. How are you guys doing? Doing pretty good? Are you having a good time? I mean, all these dogs have been super cute, but oh my God, what the hell is that? She put in a skeleton dog. That's right. Next up, we are talking about the stall hound. Now, stall, S-T-A-L, is actually a prefix in the Zelda games. Stall means skeletal. You have stallfos, stall child, stall hound. And each time we say stall, we're actually meaning skeleton. So you may remember that stallhounds are actually also in Twilight Princess, and they are a skeleton type of dog. But here's the question. We know that stallhounds are skeletal dogs, but how accurate are they? Are their bones in the right places? Well, yes and no. You see, it has 4 legs, which is good. You at least need that. And it has some fur remnants on there. But whatever this is up here, yeah, those bones jutting out from its neck, that's not something that dogs have. And also, we've never seen a dog's jaw like this before. It's broken. It's like almost split. See, the lower jaw is known as the mandible, and they aren't supposed to be broken in the middle like this. This is what an actual dog's jaw looks like. The mandible that we see on the stallhound actually looks more like a snake's lower jaw or an eel's, which is, hey, that's really cool design, but yeah, it's not really a canine feature. But it's also missing an incredibly distinct feature, which would let us know that it is indeed a canine no matter what. You see, the stallhound, it's missing its canine teeth. That's right, you can clearly see here that there are no canine teeth in the stallhound. Now, maybe it's missing, but it's hard to think that every single stallhound that you encounter, got its canine teeth knocked out. But here's what a canine skull looks like, and you can clearly see the canine teeth here. So yeah, even checking out the stallhound skeletal structure, we can tell it's not a canine. Sorry, stallhound, but you're dead to me. And for the last of the dogs in this video, we have Fifi from the Minish Cap, or also known as Borkin if you're playing the PAL English version of the Minish Cap. This is Stockwell's pet dog, who just can't be bothered to feed his own dog. Yeah, I definitely didn't think that we were gonna have to talk about animal cruelty or neglect in this video, but apparently we are. Stockwell asks Link, hey, can you go feed my dog? Because I just can't seem to find the time. And so Link goes and feeds the dog. And when he does, he actually is given a glass bottle because that's what Borkin's food was in. Now, the graphics in this were absolutely terrible. It is so hard to determine anything here about this dog based off the graphics alone in this game. I mean, it looks like a Maltese, we think. You actually see the Maltese a lot in, our society and in pop culture. They are normally like human companion dogs. You see them in kind of a way being used as like a status symbol or popularity, which is why I don't have one. Nope, because I am not popular. Yeah. Can't imagine why. The cool thing is there are numerous references to the Maltese found in ancient Greek and Roman literature. And it is thought that the origin of this dog is from Malta and the Mediterranean Sea. So add a little bow to this little doggy here, and I think Fifi is absolutely 100% a real canine. There are two more pups in the Minish Cap. We have Growler and we have Rolf. Now, Growler is a little dog that is in Hyrule Town and blocks you path until you turn into Minish form and talk to him. And Rolf is the same dog, except he's gray. Rolf lives in a house within Hyrule Town, and if you talk to him, he complains about how hot the fireplace is. Maybe consider moving away from the fireplace, Rolf. That might help you in your endeavors. Both of these dogs are based on a breed called the Maltipoos, which sounds like something I just made up or read in a Dr. Seuss book. But no, it is definitely not. It is a real thing. These are very similar to the Maltese that I mentioned before, except Maltipoos are Maltese bred with poodles. So then when you do that, you get these little cute guys right here. Fun fact about the Maltipoos here, they are actually nicknamed the teacup puppies. Not sure if that's because you can drink tea with them or drink tea out of them. I don't recommend doing the latter. Many people are fans of The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess. But some folks think there was one poor decision made by Nintendo with this game. And that was transforming Link into a wolf. Which, by the way, is absolutely absurd because it's freaking awesome. I actually love the whole wolf Link thing. And I like the fact that Midna is riding on your back the whole time. That came out weird. But hey, I get it. Some folks don't like the fact that you have to do this wolf stuff instead of just playing like a normal, Link character. And there are a lot of folks that complain about the wolf portions of the game, that there are too many of them. But here's the question. What kind of wolf is Link? What kind of wolf does Link transform into? And I know, I was actually really surprised by this because I'm going to be real. I didn't think there was one. I thought that Nintendo had absolutely made it up. Link really does turn into a real world wolf. In fact, he turns into one of the largest wolves in the world. This here is the Yukon wolf, also known as the interior Alaskan wolf. Now wait a second. Okay, I do want to explain. You may get this confused. When I'm talking about interior, I'm not talking about like interior of your house. I'm talking about in Alaska, there's a place called Interior Yukon or Southern Interior Yukon. Go look that up if you're curious. But just to specify here, I'm not talking about like the interior of a house or using the word interior in that way. It's actually to talk about the inner parts of Alaska. But here's what's really, really interesting. The Yukon wolf is actually a subspecies of gray wolf. And the gray wolf is native to parts of British Columbia, interior Alaska, and Yukon. And the Yukon wolf's coat will range in many different colors, from black to white. And sometimes it's a mix of both. And here with Link, we can see he actually has a mix of both black and white. Another crazy fact that I discovered when looking at Yukon wolves is the fact that they hunt moose. Yes, you heard me right. They actually hunt moose up in Alaska. That is one of the things that they like to hunt. They specifically hunt elder moose that can't keep up with maybe like a pack, or more horrific, the child mooses. But I thought that was really interesting that the Yukon wolves actually will attack moose. Mooses are huge. And look, this video was super fun to make and incredibly interesting. But the fact is, Link, he is actually based on a real canine. And that's awesome. Let me ask you all this. What are some of the most annoying enemies in Zelda that you could think of? What comes to my mind are like the Redeads that you have to fight. Those things are incredibly annoying and they scream at you in Ocarina of Time. And bats. Bats are so annoying in Zelda. I mean, if you play any of the top-down ones, the bats are super annoying and trying to come at you all the time. And don't even get me started about fire bats. And I'd also say owls, although technically the owl in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask is not an enemy. But as we saw in my bird video, absolutely annoying. Well, one of the most annoying enemies, in my opinion, are the Wolfoses, which I guess is just a, cool way of saying wolf. That's right, these wolves are such a pain in my butt. I'm not even kidding you. These things are not fun to fight in Majora's Mask. I just got done playing through Majora's Mask and recording it, and I can tell you right now, these things are just super annoying and takes forever to kill. You can only hit them after they attack because they'll, stun out for a moment and then you can hit them. And it is just, they're so annoying to try to fight. But these wolves show up in many Zelda games. They show up in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Spirit Tracks, and I think they even show up in Echoes of Wisdom, which just came out. So the black Wolfoses are probably based on the same wolf that Link was based on, the Yukon wolf, while the white and gray Wolfoses are likely based on the Arctic wolf and the gray wolf, respectively. So the Wolfoses are actually, in fact, real. Man, we're looking pretty good. I know it might be a little blurry for you guys, but this list, it's getting there. Our next is, please God, I'm so over this game. Please. Oh God, please, not Adventure of Link again. I have to say, Adventure of Link is the weirdest game. And Link's Adventure is the weirdest game. Of all the Zelda games, it's definitely the weirdest. I just got done researching for the bird video, and now I'm researching again other animals, and I have these guys up here that I have to talk about because they're from this game. We have another video coming out soon about the Adventure of Link and these crazy things, but until then, we have to kind of deal with this game. And so we're looking at this guy right here, the Wosu. The Wosu are these like half dog, half humanoid guys. They're so weird, but they have been put into the palaces of the game to basically protect the stones that are in the palaces that Link has to go and get to. And like the new video that we're working on is going to discuss, the King of Hyrule put them there. Yeah, that King of Hyrule. And so these guys are like white and they have fur all over and they hop around on two legs. They don't even just like walk, they actually hop. But it's really hard to map this character to a real canine. You see, it looks like a wolf, but it also kind of reminded us of Anubis, the Egyptian god. And speaking of Egyptian gods, it could also be Wepawet, which Wepawet was the Egyptian jackal deity of funeral rites, war, and royalty. And as far as we could tell, there are no real-life, real-world white jackals that we have seen. Maybe there are some mutations out there somewhere, but we're not including those. So unfortunately, Link's Adventure, another creature that is not based on real life. Man, I am going to be so excited to escape this horrifying game. I mean, I thought the Uka were bad. I really did. I thought they were Uka, but Link's Adventure, or the Adventure of Link, is just a horrifying game. Do not, hey, whatever you do not look up the official artwork for the Thunderbird. You won't sleep ever again, okay? Don't look it up. Next up, we have the cold-footed wolf. This wolf can be found in Breath of the Wild and in Tears of the Kingdom. And what's cool about him is he's mostly white, but he's got a little pink and purple on his back. Kind of reminds me of the snow-coat fox, which we just talked about earlier in this video. It looks really, really cool, but looking cool doesn't really get you very far in this video. We did search for this wolf in our life, but we couldn't find any wolves with this sort of color. We tried mapping this to the Yukon wolf that we talked about, or the interior Alaskan wolf, but it just has too many colors to actually map to that wolf. And so the next wolf, unfortunately, it's in the same boat. You see, this is the Maradu wolf, and it is blue and white, and it can be found in Hyrule's forests. Again, it's disappointing with the wolves here because unlike the birds of Hyrule, there just are not a lot of wolves that look like real life wolves in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They just don't seem real. But hey, if you disagree with us about the Maradu wolf and the wolf before, cold-footed wolf, you know, that's great. Please let us know in the comments, and you tell us what kind of animal you think they map to. But my wife and I, we couldn't find any. And now it is time for our final canine of the video. But you want to stick around because I have some bonuses. We are talking about the Wasteland coyote. Now, this one's really interesting, and I want you to pay attention, okay? It's interesting about the Wasteland coyote because the game calls this canine a coyote. And this is a prime reason why my wife and I decided to make these kind of videos. You see, the game's calling it a coyote, but it looks almost nothing like a real coyote. Here are them side by side, the Wasteland and a real coyote. And you can see they kind of look similar, but not really. Now, here's the Wasteland coyote next to a wolf. You know, like the wolf we just talked about, the Yukon wolf. And you can see they actually kind of look similar. You see, coyotes in real life are actually really small. They're not as big as like a wolf. In fact, they even act different in the game than they do in real life as well. You see, in real life, coyotes are actually kind of medium size, and wolves, well, they're large. They're big, big creatures. And the Wasteland coyote, it's not small like a coyote. It's big like a wolf. But not only that, the Wasteland coyote actually runs in packs and is incredibly aggressive to Link, which means that it's actually not much like a real coyote because real coyotes are much smaller and they're actually antisocial creatures. In fact, real world coyotes rarely attack humans unless they're cornered. So actually, the Wasteland coyote has way more in common with a gray wolf than it does a coyote. And like I said, look, it looks like a wolf. It does not look like a coyote at all. So we're gonna say, look, real coyote? No, this is not a real coyote. However, Real canine? Real wolf? Absolutely. The Wasteland coyote is not a coyote at all. It's been mismatched, misnamed. It's actually a wolf, and it's a real canine. All right, before we get on to the final part of this video, where I tell you how many canines are actually based on real life in Zelda, I want to talk about some bonuses. What makes them bonuses, you may ask? Well, let's talk about Chain Chomp. That's right. If you are a fan of Super Mario 64, then you probably know what this is. That's right. In the days of Super Mario 64, there was something called a Chain Chomp. And the Chain Chomp was in Bum Battlefield, I think is the name of the level. And it barked at you when you walked by. And dude, hearing this thing barked at me for the first time when I was a kid just surprised the crap out of me. It was like, you're not a dog. And to my surprise, the Chain Chomp shows up in Link's Awakening, a game that came out earlier than Super Mario 64. Now, I think the Chain Chomp was probably in a Mario game prior to that. I'm not sure. I'm not a Mario aficionado, but it would be interesting to research. But when I got around to playing a Link's Awakening DX, I saw that the Chain Chomp was also in that game as well. And the Chain Chomp there is named Bow Wow. And Bow Wow is super fun because you need to use him in order to get to the next temple, and he just jumps around and he literally eats enemies for you, which is super fun. I think it's really cool that Nintendo included him and put him in Link's Awakening DX and the newer Link's Awakening. And yeah, I mean, I had to mention him because he's just so cool. I mean, who doesn't like Bow Wow, right? I mean, you actually walk him like a dog in the game, so we kind of had to mention him in this video, but clearly not a dog, and we had to mention him in the bonuses. Yeah, I mean, you do walk him, but it's probably best to keep him on a leash. Okay, look, there are some games that are, how do I put this? Well, they're not canon. And you probably already know what I'm talking about just by saying that. But then when I mention CDI, then you're probably gonna know exactly what I'm talking about there too. There are some games in the Zelda series that are non-canon, meaning they're not made by Nintendo. They are outside of the Nintendo universe. These games are Zelda's Adventure, Wand of Gamelon, and Faces of Evil. And in each one of these games, there is a wolf-like boss. Within Zelda's Adventure, there is a wolf-like boss called Canines. And Canines is this large dog creature that is at the Shrine of Fire. And well, honestly, it just looks kind of weird, and it's like some demonic crap. It looks super duper strange. Like it's some sort of dachshund mixed with a raccoon or something. It's incredibly weird, okay? And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to include these kind of characters in our main video here. I'm not going to do that to you all. I don't want you to get information from the CDI Zeldas that are notorious for being horrible games. There's another dog or canine named Omphak, and Omphak is the sixth boss and the Wand of Gamelon. Now, Omphak here, he can actually transform into other things. So he like is a wolf, but he transforms into a lion, and then like a giant set of lips. Nightmare fuel is really, that's all I have to say here. Just nightmare fuel. Man, I'm really glad Nintendo said these games don't exist at all. But next up we have Lupe as our bonus. And this also is one of the bosses in these CDI Zelda games. I think he is in Faces of Evil. He is just a wolf, prince's clothing, or like a wizard outfit or something. It's really weird. Like these CDI games are super strange. Oh, and then he has a third eye. He has a third eye too that shoots laser beams out of it. Anyway, I guess a gray wolf, but not real. And he's a bonus, so we're not including him at all. Don't ever go play the CDI games. Just don't. Go watch someone play them. Watch someone speedrun them, because that's interesting. So how many canines in The Legend of Zelda are actually real, based on real life? Well, 65% of the canines in the Legend of Zelda series are actually based on real life animals, which is an incredibly impressive number. I was not expecting a number that high. I mean, we're talking about Zelda here. We're talking about Nintendo. They love to take inspiration from things and then make them their own, and they do really weird things. But I was not expecting like Wolf Link to be real. I was not expecting like a lot of the dogs in, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and Oracle of Age. Like, I was not expecting a lot of these games, even in Tingle's game, to be real. So the games that were included in this video are The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, Link's Awakening, A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, Twilight Princess, Minish Cap, Ripened Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love, Freshly Picked Tingle's Rosy Rupee Land, Spirit Tracks, Four Sword Adventure, Link's Awakening for the Switch, Breath of the Wild, Tears of Kingdom, and Echoes of Wisdom. I want to thank Mama Goron so much for such amazing research. She started research on this video on the canines of Hyrule and the canines of Zelda right away after our bird research, and she nailed it. I mean, she picked things out that I never thought she could. She's a well-published doctor in animal behavior and in biology. As I told you guys before, she's an ornithologist and doctor in ornithology, so she does a lot of cool stuff. So please like this video to let her know how much you appreciate her research. She just did such an exceptional job, more than I could. I mean, I helped as much as I could, but honestly, it's her with that, animal behavior doctor brain that she's able to find things that I couldn't even attempt or know how to attempt to find. And this video and this channel honestly would not be around if not for her. She is amazing. So please, if you got anything from this video, if you enjoyed this video at all, because she did such an amazing job with this research. But hey, let me know down in the comments below what we got right, what we got wrong, what you thought was the most surprising canine of this whole thing. Again, mine of course is Link. I'm still baffled that Link is actually a real wolf. I mean, I had thought that Nintendo was just kind of making stuff up with that, and of course the markings and the white on and the gray with the black, it just didn't look real. It didn't look like it would be a real wolf. Anyway guys, my name is Papa Goron. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye. I realized just now that this has a laser. Look at that. I am going to play with the cats so much with this. Oh my gosh. Little air mouse. Oh, it's a laser for cats and it's called an air mouse. That's fantastic.